The Titanic wreckage was found by a team led by Dr. Robert Ballard in 1985. They used a combination of sonar technology and underwater robots to search for the ship. The team scanned the ocean floor in the area where the Titanic was believed to be sunk, and eventually they discovered the wreckage at a depth of 12,500 feet. Once the wreckage was located, remotely operated vehicles, also known as ROVs, were used to capture detailed images and video footage of the ship. This groundbreaking discovery brought the Titanic back into public eye and sparked renewed interest in its history. The Titanic sank on April 15, 1912, after hitting an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. The exact sequence of events leading to its sinking was a combination of factors, including the ship's high speed in icy waters, inadequate lookouts, and design flaws in the ship's construction. When the iceberg struck the Titanic, it punctured multiple compartments, causing the water to flood into the ship. As a result, the ship gradually tilted forward and eventually broke in two, before sinking to the ocean floor. At the time of the sinking, there was approximately 2,224 people on board the Titanic, including passengers and crew members. Out of total, around 1,500 people lost their lives in the tragedy. It is possible that the sinking could have been prevented if the ship had been travelling at a slower speed in icy waters. Slowing down the ship would have given the crew more time to spot and avoid icebergs, reducing the risk of collision. But slowing down may simply not have been enough to prevent the disaster. There are several conspiracy theories surrounding this famous vessel. One particular theory suggests that the Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic, was additionally switched with the Titanic and deliberately sunk for insurance fraud. Another theory proposes that there was a fire on board that weakened the ship's structure, making it susceptible to damage from the iceberg. Another is people believe that the sinking was part of an elaborate plot to assassinate specific individuals on board. Regarding the theory of the switch between the Titanic and the Olympic, experts point out the two ships had noticeable differences in design and construction. It would have been highly challenging to carry out such a switch without detection, especially considering the scrutiny the Titanic received during its construction and maiden voyage. Some specific design and construction differences between the Titanic and the Olympic include the length. The Titanic was about 882 feet long, while the Olympic was slightly shorter, at around 863 feet. The Titanic had an enclosed promenade deck on board, which featured large windows, while the Olympic had only an open promenade deck. The windows on the Titanic were a series of small portholes on its forward B deck, while the Olympic had larger rectangular windows. And the grand staircase of the Titanic was a different design. These are just a few of the examples of the differences between the Titanic and the Olympic, which would have made a switch between the two ships highly improbable without detection. As for the theory of the fire weakening the ship's structure, people argue that while the fire did occur in the Titanic before its departure, it was not significant enough to compromise the ship's integrity or contribute to the sinking. The fire was well documented and is believed to have been under control by the time the collision happened with the iceberg. The last conspiracy is the assassination attempt on John Jacob Astor, Isa Strauss, and Benjamin Guggenheim. This was by the Rothschild banking family, or the Jesuits. These three names were on the list of people who opposed the new Federal Reserve Bank, so sinking the ship and making it look like an accident was the perfect plan. And if the stories are true, it worked. Experts have been trying to debunk these conspiracy theories for several reasons. Firstly, extensive investigations have been conducted by multiple expert teams over the years, including the official inquiry led by Lord Mersey. These investigations have reviewed the evidence, witness testimony, and technical details of the ship's construction, ultimately concluding that the Titanic sunk due to hitting the iceberg. As of current date, there have been a total of 5 expeditions to explore and study the Titanic wreckage. The first expedition took place in 1985, led by Dr. Robert Ballard, who discovered the shipwreck. Subsequent expeditions occurred in 1986, 1991, and 1995 for the movie Avatar, and the most recent one in 2010. These expeditions have provided valuable insight into the condition of the wreck and have helped people preserve and document this historic site. Hit that like button if you'd like to leave a like. Thank you. Deep in the heart of the ocean, a fearless crew embarked on a mission to explore the Titanic in the depths of the unknown. Their submarine, aptly named the Abyss, was specifically designed to withstand the immense pressure and darkness that awaited them. The crew consisted of a group of skilled marine biologists and oceanographers from different countries from around the world. They were all experts in their respective fields, specializing in deep-sea exploration and the study of unique marine organisms and shipwrecks. The crew members worked together closely, using advanced technology and equipment to document and analyze their structural integrity and unravel the mystery surrounding the Titanic's tragic sinking. Their findings could help shed light on the events leading up to the disaster and provide valuable insight into the marine engineering and safety protocols. As they descended deeper into the abyss, their excitement turned into apprehension. The eerie silence of the deep blue engulfed them, broken only by the hum of the submarine's engines, and the only source of light that could be seen came from the submarine's powerful searchlights piercing through the pitch-black waters, when suddenly an ominous shadow emerged from the darkness. At first it was barely visible, but luminescent colours then showed off the size of the colossal beast. It then started circling the submarine. The crew members frantically tried to identify the enormous creature that had materialized before their eyes. It seemed otherworldly, with its eyes and body that glowed like distant stars, and razor-sharp teeth that hinted at its predatory nature. The deep ocean beast had a long and slim body, similar to that of a serpent or eel. Its skin was covered in a series of bony plates. Its limbs were perfectly adapted for swimming, with powerful muscles allowing it to navigate the depths of the ocean with ease. It had rows of dorsal fins along its back, which it used to help maintain balance and stability while swimming. Its gills were on the side of its head, but one of its most distinctive attributes was its bioluminescence. The creature seemed to have specialized cells in its skin that emitted a soft, eerie glow, helping it navigate and communicate in the depths where the light is scarce. The bioluminescence could vary in color and intensity, allowing the creature to display stunning arrays of light and patterns to attract mates or confuse predators. All the people on board the sub agreed the creature was a marvel of evolution, perfectly adapted to its harsh and unforgiving environment. The crew reacted with a mixture of awe and terror, knowing that they were the only people alive to see the thing, and that they would not make it back to the surface to tell their story of how they encountered the deep ocean beast. Their hearts raced as they now beheld the full immense size and power of the creature. A sense of disbelief washed over them, some froze in fear, unable to comprehend the reality of what they were seeing, while the others instinctively sought cover, hiding their faces. The initial shock gradually gave way to the desperate need for survival, as they came to the terms that they were now facing the same doom as thousands of men who came before them. Just another tragic ship that sank, lost at sea, the world not knowing the truth. Tension filled the submarine as the crew realized they'd trespassed on forbidden territory. They knew they needed to retreat, but the creature blocked their path. Its massive form looming over them, it let out an ominous cry that reverberated through the water, a warning of the consequences they would face if they dared to go any deeper. With hearts pounding and adrenaline coursing through their veins, the crew decided to make a desperate escape. Maneuvering the sub with all their skill, they managed to evade being sucked into the creature's mouth just at the last second as its jaws smashed together, which caused a shockwave to propel the submarine through the water, throwing around the scientists inside. Getting back to their feet and gaining their senses, they noticed the creature had now turned and was heading for the surface with lightning speed. It was going for the ship. Smashing through the surface, the beast unleashed a powerful wave that crashed into the ship. The vessel shuddered and started to break apart. The force of the impact was so strong that it tore through the ship's hull, causing it to rapidly fill with water. The poor souls on board didn't have time to react, as the monster sent forth another wave with the force of its tail. This one was stronger than the last, crippling and capsizing the ship. It succumbed to the ocean depths, leaving the crew stranded at the mercy of the ocean. In the face of the destruction, the scientists in the submarine stood frozen, their eyes wide with shock as their ship was destroyed by the power of the mythical nightmare. Fear had gripped their hearts, and a chill ran down their spines as they realized the magnitude of the menace that lurked beneath the waves. Adrenaline surged through their veins, propelling them into the frantic scramble for survival. Panic rippled through their voices as they shouted orders, desperately thinking of a way to escape the clutches of certain doom. But as they thought of a way to escape, they soon came to comprehend the futility of their efforts. But some among them still refused to accept the harsh reality unfolding before their eyes. Denial set in, a desperate attempt to shield themselves from the truth that it was over for them. The others, however, embraced the bitter taste of resignation, a haunting acceptance that their fate was sealed by the force far greater than themselves. Looking out into the sea, it was coming straight at them. The void inside its mouth, wide enough to swallow them whole. The darkness got closer and closer until nothing. Hope you enjoyed this episode. My content takes me a long time to make, so if you wouldn't mind, can you hit the like, subscribe, and always remember that bell. Thanks for watching. Fiat tears.